Hello there, and welcome to What to Expect After Treatment Ends. Let's just get started right away. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what to expect after treatment has ended, because, like many of us, I'm sure you're questioning what now. I'm going to make sure that I answer that question for you in this training. Woo, right? Today, we're going to be covering the question I get asked more than any other question, which is how long, Karen, before I feel like myself again? We're going to be answering that today. There's actually an equation. So make sure that you get your pen and paper ready and get ready to write down a few numbers. No math degree necessary, so don't worry. The second thing we're going to be looking at today are the often overlooked late-term side effects from going through breast cancer treatment that are rarely talked about, but you're most likely experiencing. And lastly, I'm going to be sharing 4 ways that you can minimize these side effects while also silencing that nagging fear of recurrence. In other words, this is your new normal roadmap. So buckle up, turn off any distractions, and let's get started. But you know what? I'm also, because I hate being left hanging, kind of like we were after our treatment ended, right? I will not leave you hanging. At the end of this training, you're going to know exactly what your next best steps are. Is that okay with you? I hope so. Now, I want you to know that you're in the right place if you've been surprised and confused about how you've been feeling since treatment ended. Maybe you've even been wondering, what's wrong with me? Maybe you're finding like the hustle and bustle of your everyday life and responsibilities is just affecting you. It's making you anxious. It's making you exhausted. And you just feel like you can't cope with it all. And maybe you've been feeling like you should be able to do what you used to be able to do, but you're just so exhausted all the time. And maybe you're also feeling that pressure from everybody else around you. I want you to know that I felt the exact same way. In fact, I remember so clearly the day of my last doctor's appointment, sitting on that white, crinkly paper on the table, my legs stuck to it because for some reason I'd always have a hot flash as soon as I was in that doctor's office. And I remember hearing the words, Karen, I'll see you in 3 months. And I thought I'd be jumping for joy. Perhaps you did too. I thought that this was the time when I would be so excited. I'd be full of energy. I'd be like, yes, I did it. But what actually happened instead took me completely by surprise, and in fact made me extraordinarily confused. And I was even Googling, what's wrong with me? You see, what I was feeling in that very moment was confused. I started to sob, like from my gut, like, that ugly crying sob. I grabbed hold of my doctor, and I remember in that instant feeling like the rug had just been ripped out from under me. The medical team that had supported me all the way through my treatment, holding my hand from one appointment to the next, guiding me, showing me the way, was suddenly gone. What was I supposed to do now? Let alone how I started to feel over the following couple of weeks. You see, it was over the weeks that followed where I felt really alone, even though my amazing, phenomenal, supportive husband and family and support system had been great throughout. It was like something was missing for me. Was crying at the drop of a hat. I was exhausted to my core, not even able to get out of bed. And let's not talk about the anxiety I was feeling every day, the hot flashes that were just overwhelming. And even the brain fog. I had days where I couldn't even put a sentence together. And I remember my husband looking at me like really scared. This is how I felt. And I'm wondering if you're feeling the exact same way. So I want to share just a little bit about me before we dive in more today. I am a breast cancer and BRCA2 thriver. I was diagnosed in July 2018. And I've been working in health and wellness for over 20 plus years as a health and transformation coach, earlier on as a personal trainer. Got extensive knowledge in this industry. I'm also a mom to my super amazing husband, Mike. And he might be quite a bit younger than me too. And I am known by many as a bounce back expert because over the past 7 years, I've bounced back from, oh my gosh, where to even start? The loss of my entire family unit, my mom, dad, and younger brother. I've moved house 7 times in 8 years, including to and from the Caribbean. That's why you can see my husband and I scuba diving down there. He taught me to scuba dive. He's an instructor. I've been through Zika virus, shingles. My hubby was in a motorcycle accident. I'll go into that a little bit more in a little bit. But also then breast cancer and BRCA2, and most recently, Hurricane Ian. And through it all, what you're going to learn today are the tools that helped me bounce back through all of it. Okay? Because what I realized during that time after that, Karen, I'll see you in 3 months period, was that I am uniquely qualified to help you during this time. These tools that I've learned through my extensive education and the stuff that you can't learn from books, right? The personal experience that often I think leaves us feeling wiser and richer than what we could ever learn in a book. I realize that that's what I get to share with you. So I want you to just take a second, close your eyes, and imagine waking up one morning with energy, feeling well rested, not as achy, calm, and ready to enjoy your day. Your body is feeling strong, and you notice a smile on your face as you realize that you are finally feeling well again. Imagine how that will feel. And that's exactly where we're heading. But first, we need to practice a lot of self-compassion because after treatment ends is when the next stage of recovery starts. And what I've noticed, over 95% of us imagine that we're going to feel like sunshine and rainbows after treatment is over, just like it. And yet, 95% of us end up feeling confused, overwhelmed, and dealing with a roller coaster ride of unexpected emotions. This is because after treatment ends is when the true physical, mental, and emotional healing begin. And not only is it rarely talked about, we are rarely prepared by our medical team for this stage of our recovery. No more, no more. It's my mission, it's my purpose to make sure that you know exactly what to expect so that you're not questioning, is this normal? So let's jump in and answer the question I know that you're itching to find out. How long before you can expect to feel like you again? Now, we're going to take a look at this simple formula. I hope you got your pen and paper ready. You don't need much, just a little scrap of paper. And there is certainly no math degree necessary here. So here we go. A equals the date of your diagnosis. If you're anything like me, that date is branded in my brain forever, right? It's one of those dates that we don't forget. B is the date of your last active treatment. And if you just want to do month and year, you can certainly do that. It doesn't need to be precise to the date if you don't want it to be. Okay, so B is the date of your last active treatment. Now, active treatment, if you're unsure, things like chemo, radiation, last follow-up on a surgery, if you're having infusions, I include those. It does not include any continuing medications like those hormone blocking medications, aromatase inhibitors and things like that. Not tamoxifen, letrozole, any of those medications. We're not including those because they go on for 5 to 10 years typically. So C equals the length of time between A and B. So you're going to take B minus C, minus A. And C is the approximate length of time that this next stage of recovery lasts. Why approximate? You know what? We're all different, right? Our levels of stress are different. Our health is different. As the things that we're dealing with in between here are all different. So it's an approximation, and I want to share with you my dates to give you some idea of how long it may be, because I know after speaking to hundreds of survivors that it's always longer than we think. We think that we're going to just jump back, and we don't. Our body and mind and soul need a little bit more time. We've been through a trauma. So for example, these are my dates. The date of my diagnosis was July 2018. Mine is super easy to figure out. The date of last active treatment was July 2020. That was my last surgery. That was when I heard those words, see you in 3 months. And the length of time between A and B from me is 2 years. Yours might be shorter, yours might be longer. If you've had infections and needed additional surgeries, that bumps out that time. Okay, why? Because our bodies are in trauma. We are recovering from being in survival mode. And I know that this helps, but it can also feel a bit overwhelming, right? We all want to recover quicker. We all want to be back on our feet quicker, and I get it. But remember I talked about self-compassion? Yeah. I'm going to ask you to practice the patience that you've learned throughout this journey. I'm going to ask you to be kind to yourself and kind to your body as you go into this next stage. Because yes, it does take longer. And sometimes we need to communicate that with people around us, right? Because maybe they don't understand. Maybe you need to share this video with them, and that's okay too, right? So the thing is that I don't want you to think that you just have to suck it up and wait as you go through this period, because there are things that you can be doing. We're going to be talking about those a little later on in this training. So let's here to number 2, these often overlooked side effects that are rarely talked about, you're most likely experiencing. And it's likely that you're already familiar with some of the more obvious side effects from your specific breast cancer treatment. All of our treatments are different, right? Whether it was chemo, radiation, surgeries, or medication, while you're in that active phase of treatment, it's likely that you've already been told by your doctors what is probable for you to feel, what to look out for side effects. But that guidance often just disappears when you're done with that treatment. That's where I want to fill in the gap for you, is with that guidance. So there's so much more that isn't talked about until today, because you know I am pulling back the curtain. I'm going to get real and honest with you. Now, up until now, you've been running, right? You've been running to the next test, biting your nails, waiting anxiously. I think some of the worst part is this waiting anxiously for the next result, not knowing you're in the fight or flight mode that whole time, waiting for the results, waiting on tenterhooks to see then what happens next. You've been running to see numerous doctors, appointment to appointment to appointment, through chemo, radiation, surgery, whatever your treatment plan was. But you've been guided from this appointment to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And all while that has been going on, you've just been trying to keep up with life. Whew, it's exhausting. But when you hear those words, see you in 3 months, when we expect to be celebrating, what happens is that we can finally catch your breath and everything starts to catch up with you. And you may be noticing that you're exhausted, like running on fumes, exhausted to the bone, drained and run down all the time. You may even have difficulty getting out of bed. You're that tired. This isn't the kind of tired that a nap fixes. It's different. And you may be noticing that you're feeling this way even if you've slept all night. You might be experiencing weight gain, especially that Buddha belly if you had surgery. Mood swings, emotional to happy, glad you're alive, to crying and don't know what to do. And hot flashes like crazy, waking up drenched, or even during the day, completely drenched. And these menopause symptoms are a side effect of most breast cancer treatments, whether or not you've gone through hysterectomy, whether or not you're on estrogen blocking medication. These can still be side effects, yet we are rarely prepared for them, or even warned about them when we're choosing what treatment to go through. You might be experiencing muscle and joint pain, and that can be because of stress, medication, chemo, inflammation, and even our breast implants. If you went through reconstruction and you had breast implants, as I once did, you might be experiencing anxiety, feeling your heart racing all the time, triggering those hot flashes. You might not be sleeping well with your brain just spinning, but you can't get a clear thought together. And maybe all of that is leading to a lack of patience and low tolerance level. Maybe you're finding yourself snapping at people for no reason and then beating yourself up for it and feeling really unhappy. You might be struggling with memory lapses and having difficulty focusing. Talk about brain fog, right? Like I said, one of my experiences was where I literally could not put a sentence together. And that went on for weeks. It was so scary. And I wasn't warned, just like you weren't prepared. And again, you might be finding yourself getting frustrated and others getting frustrated with you because you can't even remember what somebody just said, let alone try and focus on a word. And maybe you're experiencing changes in body odor. Your body has gone through major changes, many of which can affect your hormones. And that can change our body odor. And you might feel really self-conscious, right? It doesn't feel good to suddenly be aware that you're smelling differently. Maybe you're drenched in sweat. And some people kind of barricade themselves in their homes because of this. You want to withdraw. You might be feeling uncomfortable in your own skin, looking in the mirror and not even recognizing the woman looking back at you. Just saying, who is she? I don't even know anymore who I am. You might be experiencing complete loss of sex drive and or painful intercourse, leaving you not even want to be touched because it can feel like shards of glass. These are all incredibly common. Why are we not warned? Why are we not prepared? I'm here preparing you, letting you know that you're not alone if you are experiencing any of these things. And maybe you don't want to jump back into your pre-cancer life. Maybe you're feeling like it just doesn't fit who you are today. You went through this journey and your perspective changed. What was important to you in life changed. The way you want to take care of yourself now has changed. And more than anything, you don't want to get sick again. Life has changed. And so often you might feel like you're a square peg trying to fit back into a round hole, which was your life before cancer. And you may be experiencing grief for a body, a life, a relationship, heck of freedom, and a woman that once was. And perhaps you're feeling alone and isolated and unheard and unsupported and wondering, why doesn't anyone get it? And I love this quote by my dear friend, Dr. Christina Hibbert. She's a breast cancer survivor and psychologist. And she said, everyone is there for the physical battle, but the mental and emotional battle after treatment is over, not so much. I think she hit the nail on the head with this quote. But I want you to know that you are not alone. I'm right here beside you as we journey this path together. So let's talk about the 4 most effective ways that you can minimize these side effects while also silencing that nagging fear of recurrence. Does that sound good? Because what I have found is that just like having a roadmap for treatment brings a little bit of relief. I know that sounds weird, right? But did you feel that you were waiting to find out what your treatment plan was going to be? And once you had it in place, did you exhale? Oh, okay. All right. Well, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks what I've got to do, but now I know what I've got to do. Okay. I can do that now. It's like having that roadmap, that clarity, that knowing what's coming and what you need to do makes it easier, right? In some bizarre way. But in the same way that that roadmap for treatment brings that little sigh of relief, so does a roadmap for recovery and your new normal. Now, my overall approach for that roadmap is to reduce inflammation. Let me take a little sip of water here as I talk about inflammation. Because what I want to do now is connect some dots for you, okay? So what we know, 100% scientifically proven, that inflammation causes cancer, yes, including breast cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, arthritis, autoimmune diseases, neurological diseases, and pulmonary diseases. Okay, inflammation is the root cause of all serious disease. Okay, take that in. Please let that sink in because this is so, so, so important. So we also know, proven science, that inflammation also causes fatigue, muscle and joint pain, brain fog, mood swings, hot flashes, anxiety, depression, and weight gain. Let that sink in. So, wait a minute. If inflammation can cause all of those symptoms, wouldn't it make sense that if we reduce inflammation, then it would reduce the side effects and could also reduce our risk for recurrence? Yes, it would make sense. 100%. That is why my approach is to reduce inflammation. Now, can you imagine how you would feel each day if you had energy to enjoy your loved ones, your kids, your grandkids, your significant other, whoever you want to enjoy in your life, having that energy? Can you imagine how you would feel if you weren't bloated all the time and having those hot flashes that keep you in the house because you're just so sweaty and drenched? If you weren't having those mood swings and so you could laugh with people again instead of pushing them away? Can you imagine what it would feel like to not have debilitating muscle and joint pain? Get back to doing the things that bring you joy, that light you up, like doing a little pottering in the garden. How much do you miss those things? Imagine sleeping well and not waking up with your heart racing, not feeling anxious over the smallest, slightest thing, and knowing how it feels to actually feel calm and grounded and to be able to do it for yourself. How would it feel to not have those memory lapses, right? How would you show up differently at work, feeling confident in the job you're doing, taking care of the bills at home, taking care of a schedule that's hectic? How would it feel? Oh, what a relief. And as for those changes in body odor, yes, it can even affect those. Well, you can go to the market, you can actually reach out for the fruits and veggies and not worry about who's around you and getting a sniff of that underarm body odor. Yeah, and even imagine feeling comfortable in your own skin, no matter how you look, no matter how many scars, and just being grateful for the body, the vessel that has carried you to today. And imagine feeling more connected to your partner again, starting to feel more attracted, starting to feel less pain when you take the right course of action. And forget jumping back to your old life. You're now looking forward and saying, what is this new normal going to bring for me? What joy? What purpose? What can I do to enjoy this life that I've been given? Because you've now got the energy to do it. And where you once experienced grief, you now experience hope. All are possible when you follow the Essentials for Thriving roadmap. We look at the right foods, and you get to feel calm and confident when you know how to make the right anti-inflammatory food choices for you and your family with ease, without stressing. The second thing we look at is managing stress. Imagine having a plan in place for every time that you felt stressed or anxious, knowing exactly what to do, and that within 10 minutes you can bring yourself back to a calm and more balanced place. Reducing toxins. You can breathe easier knowing that your home no longer contains cancer-causing, hormone-disrupting, and inflammatory chemicals. Probably even weren't aware of it, but we dive into that too because it's incredibly important. And the fourth thing on part of our Essentials for Thriving roadmap is to focus on you first. A non-negotiable if you want to severely lessen the chance of getting sick again. And I promise it's possible. This is my non-negotiable every single day. So let's dive in and look at these in a little more detail. Okay, let's talk about the right foods. How many times have you Googled what are the right foods? What should I be eating after breast cancer? Yeah, there's so much confusion surrounding this subject, and there are many, many, many different theories. And I know it's tempting to throw caution to the wind and just say, you know what, screw it. I have cancer. I'm going to eat what I want. And if that's your choice, you can do that. Just know the impact that it's going to have. But I do want to imagine how it would feel to never diet again. Like, seriously, I'm not messing around here. Never diet again. Let me share with you, diets don't work. Diets don't work. And you may have already figured this out for yourself. But if you've ever been on a diet, I want you to ask yourself, did you lose weight while you were on the diet? Probably. But when you stopped the diet, did you gain that weight back and more? Quite possibly. The reason being the statistic here, 98% of women, 98, lose weight on a diet, gain that weight back and more within 2 years. Safe to say, diets don't work. But take a breath here and understand what that means. It means that there's nothing wrong with you. You haven't been doing it wrong. It's just that diets don't work. The whole concept doesn't work. But I do want you to think about never living in deprivation again. What? Never living in deprivation again. When we live in deprivation, again, you've probably noticed this. When you tell yourself, don't have cheese, what do you want more than anything? Cheese. You can say this thing, don't have chocolate. What do you want and crave more than anything? Chocolate. So what I want to introduce you to with this anti-inflammatory way of eating and being and living is a world of 80-20. That's where 80% of the time we're eating anti-inflammatory foods. We're eating the foods that are going to energize you, give you the clear head, to take away the aches and pains, to minimize those side effects. But 20% of the time, you get to have the cheese or a glass of wine or the chocolate if you want to. I'm not saying you have to, but if you want to. Wouldn't that feel a heck of a lot easier? Wouldn't that feel like you don't have to throw caution to the wind? You can actually do the things that you need to do to feel healthier and help to reduce your risk in your life, but also enjoy it. You can have both when you know exactly what to do. Now, knowing exactly what to eat, no matter where you are or what you're doing, how easy would that feel? It doesn't matter if you're traveling, if you're going to a friend's for dinner, if you're going out to a restaurant, you'll know exactly what to choose and what to minimize. Because when you follow the essentials for thriving, the right foods system, you'll learn exactly what to eat and what to minimize. And I want to tell you a little bit about Jo. Jo went through the Essentials for Thriving program. And when I met her, she had absolutely no idea that what she was eating was affecting her recovery. But within 1 week, she started to feel better. She felt less anxious. She was experiencing fewer hot flashes, and she was even able to tidy up the kitchen without needing a nap. Now, to other people that did not go through breast cancer, they're like, yeah, so what? But we know otherwise. We know how hard that is. And Jo did too. And amazing that she was able to do that within just 1 week. Now, Jo was one of those people that maybe you can relate to. She tried every diet in the book. And she didn't think that this would be any different, but she kind of went out on a limb and said, okay, Karen, I'm going to try it anyway. And she shared that she can't believe how easy my approach is. You get a list, the eat and do not eat list. And all you need to do is to choose more foods that are on the eat list and fewer foods that are on the do not eat list. It's that easy. And she shared that she doesn't feel like she's depriving herself at all. And music to my ears, she'll never go on a diet again. Right? That diet roller coaster is mean. It's mean. I always say the scale is one of the cruelest things ever invented, but it's how much we beat ourselves up, right? And how much we feel like we're failing when in fact it's not us. It's that diets don't work. Let me have a sip of my water here. So number 2 in our roadmap is managing our stress. Now, most often we don't realize how toxic and inflammatory stress is to our bodies. And I want to ask you a question, because something that I hear frequently with the survivors that I talk with is that they went through massive amounts of stress prior to their diagnosis. You may have Googled, does stress cause cancer? I know I did, but no, it doesn't. But, and here's the big but, how our body reacts to that stress and how we choose to cope with that stress can. So listen up. Did you know that reacting adversely to stress is number 6 in the cancer personality traits developed by Dr. W. Douglas Brody? I talk about these in much more detail in Module 4, Lesson 2 in Essentials for Thriving, so you can learn more. But Dr. Brody states that usually we experience an especially damaging event up to 2 years prior to diagnosis. So think back, take a second, go back 24 months prior to your diagnosis. What was life like? What did you go through? This was me 1 year prior to my diagnosis. My mom in May 22nd, 2017, she passed away as I held her hand. Just 1 week earlier, she'd been diagnosed with stomach, liver, lung, and skull cancer with no other cancer diagnosis 1 week before she passed away. Just the day after my mom's funeral, my brother was rushed away in an ambulance and needed life-saving surgery. He was given a 50-50 chance of surviving that surgery. And then my brother in hospital for 2 weeks, came home, and the day after he came home, June 25th, my husband was in a motorcycle accident, almost losing his right arm. We didn't know for 2 months if they were going to be able to save his right arm. An inordinate amount of stress within a 1-month period, exactly 1 year, before my diagnosis in July 2018. Was connecting some dots for me. Now, when we're stressed, when we talk about how we cope, right? This is, and again, we're all human, but it can lead to us grabbing whatever food is easy and available, right? Which isn't always the healthiest. It can lead to us drinking more than usual, which is what a lot of people do. Just pour a glass of wine, numb the feelings. And again, for a short period of time, it's still not good for us. We might be eating sugar like it's going out of style, just reaching for the cookies or the cake or whatever, and forget drinking water. When we're stressed, it's the first thing that goes. We don't do it. Now, in my case, my coping mechanism, sour cream and onion potato chips. Hey, I'm human too, right? We all have our thing, and I'm not judging. It's not my place. But I invite you to observe, what's your thing when you're stressed? And is that thing causing inflammation? Now, all of these coping mechanisms can all lead to inflammation. And what does that do? It increases our risk of recurrence, it increases our fatigue, and it increases the intensity of those side effects. So what can we do instead? Well, as much as I'd like to, we can't stop the stress. I always say the waves of life will keep crashing on the shore, but it's our ability to learn how to surf those waves, in other words, manage the stress, that makes the difference. And that's what you learn when you follow the Essentials for Thriving Managing Stress system. It's a whole system. And when you follow that, you're going to have an experience, I'm sure, similar to Frances. When Frances and I met, and excuse my language here, if there's any kiddos listening, put hands over their ears, that Frances shared with me that she said her family were getting really, really fed up of her losing her shit. She felt like she was horrible to even be around, and she couldn't even stand herself. And what she did was she isolated herself from everybody else in her family. But then she started to use the Craze to Calm plan that I teach in Essentials for Thriving. And she said it's so easy and it only takes 10 minutes. And now they're all enjoying their family time again because she gets to manage that stress. She gets to take herself out of that overwhelmed situation where she's isolating herself and snapping at everybody. She said it means the world to her. I mean, after all, isn't that why we fought? Isn't that why we're here? To enjoy ourselves, not to isolate ourselves. Now, the third thing that we look at in Essentials for Thriving is reducing toxins. And this is crucial, but an often overlooked part of boosting our recovery and reducing our risk of getting sick again. Because what we need to do is reduce the number of harmful toxins that are often inflammatory and contain carcinogenic ingredients that we bring into our homes without even knowing it. And wherever you find them, you'll find them in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in your makeup and skincare. And honestly, it could feel like it's too much, right? It's not like you're going to Marie Kondo the entire house in one go. And when we feel overwhelmed, we change nothing. Again, that's not something that's wrong with you. That's human nature. It's how we're designed. So take the pressure off yourself. You need a plan. And if you're anything like me, you need cheat sheets. And that's what you get inside Essentials for Thriving. Now meet Sarah. And when I met Sarah, she perhaps like you, had zero clue about the impact that everything that she used in her house affected her risk of breast cancer. And even more specifically, how she was feeling on a day-to-day basis. And Sarah followed the steps in the step-by-step guide in reducing toxins inside Essentials for Thriving. And she said, I not only feel so relieved to know what I need to change, and as things need replacing, she gets to change them, and they don't need to be expensive. Please know that. I give you exactly those recommendations, what to look for, some amazing resources inside this program. But she's recognizing that her skin is less itchy, her hair is getting thicker, and she's already not feeling so drained. Who knew? Right? We have no clue. And our fourth part of this roadmap, and personally, I believe this is one of the most important, is prioritizing taking care of you first. I know that you probably are the one that cares for everybody else. But I'm going to ask you to stop putting yourself on the back burner to take care of everyone else's needs first. I mean, let's be real. You've done that. You've bought the t-shirt, bought the mug, and didn't turn out so well. You got breast cancer. And the biggest mistake I see is people trying to go back to their pre-cancer life and taking care of everyone else without a thought to what you need or want. And I have to say, it really bothers me. It really, really bothers me. You see, we're the teapot, and the people that we take care of are the teacups. And as we pour all day long from our teapot into everybody else's teacups, what happens? Our teapot's empty. and we're exhausted and we're drained and we're run dry and we become bitter and angry and resentful, right? You might be feeling that way, but don't know what to do about it. This is what you'll learn in this module in Essentials for Thriving. And what really, really shifted for me was when I learned those personality traits of breast cancer patients, those personality traits that I kind of touched on before with Dr. Douglas Brody, that you'll learn inside of Essentials for Thriving. And when I realized that most of those personality traits are us going above and beyond and putting everybody else first, I realized that something had to shift, because that's something that we can control. There are other things in life that we can't, but this is something that we can. And it's not to say that we don't take care of everybody. I do. I'm a caregiver. It's part of who I am. It's part of what lights me up and what I like to do. And probably I'm imagining that you're the same. I'm not saying that you have to stop that. But, and here's the but, we have to top up our teapot first so that we've got the energy to keep doing it and not feel resentful. Now, the other thing, and the other reason why I really took this on board, and I'm hoping that you do too, is that I had made a promise to my kiddos that you can see here, to my husband, that I would do everything that I could in my power to not get this disease again. When I make a promise, I'm a woman of my word, and I really do like to stay in integrity of it. And so when I make a promise, I really do try to stick to that as best I can. And so I made that promise that I'd do everything I could to not get sick again. And I carry the BRCA2 genetic gene. Now, not only did I make that promise to them, but I also promised that I would share everything that I know and everything that I continue to learn with you, so that you get to make these shifts too, so that you get to minimize these side effects and get your energy back and start to live your life. And that's why looking after me first became a non-negotiable. And especially without feeling guilty or like I'm being selfish. You'll learn how to do that in the program. Now meet Karen with an E. I'm Karen with an I. And Karen says that she always felt selfish when she took time for herself. But after going through breast cancer, she knew that something had to change. She had to find that time to take better care of herself. And in fact, her doctor even told her so, right? So it feels like there's a lot of pressure to do this. But in this program, Karen's shown me that I can take care of me and the people I care about. And she shared that she wished that she'd done this years ago. I think we all could say that, right? However, we're here and now we get to choose. So let me ask you a question. Would you like to be able to make these 4 shifts without stressing, without feeling overwhelmed or like you're trying to figure it out on your own? And most importantly, without the burden of adding more to your already exhausted, drained, overloaded plate. And remember, you're here because you want the energy to enjoy every second of your life and not live every day in fear. And you need a simple step-by-step plan to show you the way forward so that you can make this new normal your best normal yet. We need to make the path clear, just like it was with treatment, so you're not being distracted by all the noise out there. And you want to actually make the necessary changes instead of just thinking about them and beating yourself up for not doing them, right? Because you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to start and you don't want to get it wrong. So you've got 2 options to consider here. You can certainly just continue to exist in survival mode with all of your daily habits the same as they've been and the same as they were when you were diagnosed, and be in the same spot next year. 100% you can choose that. Or you could make a commitment to thrive and enjoy your health, your future, and to take the steps you need to minimize your side effects, get your energy back, and help silence that nagging fear of recurrence while following a proven roadmap. Lowering inflammation to boost your energy, improve your side effects while reducing your risk of breast cancer doesn't have to be intimidating or difficult. I show you exactly how. Inside Essentials for Thriving. And when you follow the simple steps in this program, you'll no longer be asking, what now? You're going to have more energy, less aches and pains, less brain fog, and more hope. Now let's take a look inside the program and see what's included. Now, most importantly with this program, it's online and you get to go at your pace. What does that mean? You're never behind. You're never behind. Remember, I've been on this journey. I know how exhausting it can be. I know the last thing you need is to feel stressed or overwhelmed. And so I've designed this program intentionally with that in mind. And you get instant access to the 4-step proven roadmap, full access to all updates and future bonus trainings, cheat sheets to keep you focused while you're coping with that brain fog, and a simple checklist for every step-by-step action to keep it clear and simple for you. Plus some amazing, amazing bonuses. Bonus number 1, over 40 anti-inflammatory chef-created recipes, okay? Eating to reduce inflammation does not need to be boring. It does not need to be tasteless. In fact, I find it the opposite. And I worked with a chef to help create these yummy, family-friendly, easy to do, right? We don't have the energy to be in the kitchen. They're all super, super easy and absolutely delicious. Now, along with that, you'll also get suggested meal ideas. If you struggle with thinking what's for dinner, think about having your whole week just laid out, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the whole week. You don't have to follow it perfectly, but it's there if you want to. How much easier would that make your life, right? Told you this stuff's going to start taking things off your plate versus adding them on. Should you choose to follow those meal ideas, I've even included a shopping list to match each week. Now, all of that is a $400 value. Amazing, absolutely amazing. But that's not it. Bonus number 2. I know one of our biggest struggles is learning to love ourselves, right, and our body post breast cancer. So I've included for you my 7-day self-love challenge. Think of this as the unchallenging challenge, right? It's super easy. And it's here to help you jumpstart your journey to self-love with just 7 simple actions, 1 to do each day. And that's a $97 value, but we're still not done. Your third bonus here is from my dear, dear friend, Jan James. Now, I'm sharing with you a magnificent interview that I did with Jan in a recent event that I had to share because it's just loaded with advice, loaded with free resources. And Jan and I were talking about the elephant in the bedroom. We were talking about sex after breast cancer, the struggles that we might be feeling, the loss of your sex drive, the painful intercourse, and some amazing resources. So this is truly, it's invaluable in how this can change your life. So the total bonus value alone, $497. But let's just say I wanted to give you a sneak peek inside the actual program so that you know exactly what you are getting. Now, Essentials for Thriving is self-paced. That means you're never, ever behind. You go at your pace, looking at what you want to when you want to, okay? So we start here by clicking on Welcome to the Program. And there's a short welcome video from me. And there's also over here on each page, you'll see that there's a download section. This is where you're going to download any of your guides, cheat sheets, all of the things that I share with you to make this possible. Okay, you'll also find at the bottom of every page a comment section. This is where you get access to me. You can ask any questions. Everybody in the program gets to see that so that you can all learn from each other. In the next section, getting started, you'll see there's your roadmap. I love a good roadmap. I love to tell you exactly what you can expect, what you're going to learn, where you can find it. Then I've also popped in here a great video on understanding breast cancer triggers. Really important. Something else I just want to point out. You're going to see that within each section, these videos I've kept super short and sweet. There is no fluff in this program. I'm sharing with you the exact tools to get your energy back, to reduce that inflammation, to minimize your side effects, to get you feeling like yourself again. So I haven't included a lot of excess fluff. Okay, I hope that's okay with you. So when we go into the right foods, and this is the same for every single section, you're going to get a snapshot. Okay, just an overview of what you're going to learn in each section. You'll get 3 lessons, and then there's a section called You've Got This. This is important, right? This is where I get to share with you my 20 plus years of experience in the industry and all of the shortcuts that I've learned. I'm sharing all of them with you in each section in this You've Got This, okay? Because you've got this. Even if you've never been able to complete a program before, you've got this. And I'm showing you exactly how to do it. The same for all of your sections, okay? Reducing toxins, so important. There's a guide for each section. You just work your way through. Same here for managing stress. All short and sweet, all short and sweet. Now, you can either, and this is up to you, it depends what you like to do, and then the final module, taking care of you first. You'll also find a bonus section where all of your bonuses are going to be, and you can see this is so intuitive and so easy. Anybody can do it, okay? And you can do this. You can absolutely 100% do this because I've laid it out in such a way that is so simple. And you can either do it, take one of these sections per week, or if you're like me, I love to Netflix and binge. Maybe you do it all at once. You have lifetime access to this program for as long as it exists, for you to come back and pop in and out as often as you need to. And I guarantee you will want to do that, right? It's impossible for us to learn so much and remember it all in one go. Okay? I really sincerely hope that I'm going to see you inside Essentials for Thriving, and I hope to see you inside there soon. Bye for now. Let's start walking towards this new normal, embracing it, stop looking back, and let's go forward. Okay, I'll see you inside. Now, by the end of this program, you'll know exactly what foods to eat to feel energized, to think clearer, to have fewer aches and pains and hot flashes. Fewer hot flashes, please, right? You'll have your unique Craze to Calm plan to tap into every single time you feel stressed or anxious instead of reaching for the chocolate chip cookies. You'll finally have your own health and well-being at the top of your list without feeling an ounce of guilt. And you will no longer have to worry about using toxic products in your home that are making you and your family sick. So what does it cost? Well, the total value is around $1,800, but that's not what you're going to pay. So what does it cost? $297? Nope, not even that. If you take action today, because I want to make this a no-brainer for you. I want you to stop the scrolling, looking for the perfect answer. It's here. I want you to stop trying to go back to a life that no longer fits you. I want you to go forward. I want you to look where you're going instead of where you've been. And I want you to stop beating yourself up for not taking action, for not doing what you know you need to be doing to stay healthy. I want to help you to embrace your new normal. And that's why I want to make this a no-brainer offer for you. So for just $97, you have 5 days to take advantage of this price. After those 5 days, this will go back up to the $297. So don't wait. And that's intentional so that you don't keep stressing about it. I want you to take action. So you've got 2 payment options here. You can buy it today for just $97, or you can buy it next week for $297. I know which one I choose, right? And for those of you who, like me, are fellow Home Goods and TJ Maxx, or maybe you love a good bargain, like, why would you wait until next week, right? So simply click the button below this video to buy today. You'll find it right below this video on this page. But I also want you to know, right? I want you to be able to make this purchase with a clear mind. And I want you to know that there is a money back guarantee. I stand behind this program. I stand behind my 20 years of experience and how I've shortcut all of this for you. And what I also know and learn having gone through it myself. So after 30 days, should you decide that this program isn't for you, you can simply request a full refund. So here are your next steps. I invite you to visit the checkout page. That's that button that you see right under this video. And this is what you're going to find. You're going to find the checkout page. It looks exactly like this. You simply complete your details, your email address, your full name. You want to create a password that gives you access to this online program. So create your unique password, and then you simply select the payment that's right for you. We accept either card or PayPal, whichever one you prefer. Then go ahead and check your email because we get to celebrate, right? I want you to look out for this subject line where I'm doing a happy dance with you. Welcome to Essentials for Thriving. And you'll get all of the information in that email. You click on the link that says to log in, and this is what it looks like. This is where you access the course and all of your bonuses right here. Super simple, right? Super, super simple. But you may be thinking, it's not the right time. Well, friend, let me tell you this. It's never the right time. You didn't get breast cancer at the right time. You probably didn't start, if you have a family, maybe you didn't start a family at the right time. Life does not work on our schedule, and there is never the perfect time. The right time is today. The right time is when you decide that you want to enjoy your life and that you're not just going to suck it up and wait to feel better. You're going to take the bull by the horns. You're going to decide that you are the driver of the bus. And I'm going to show you how in this program. And maybe you're wondering, will it work for me? Maybe like Joe, you've tried every diet in the books and it's never worked. Well, I told you it's not you, it's diets don't work, right? This works for everybody. Reducing inflammation is an overarching philosophy that works for everybody, right? If inflammation is the root cause of all serious disease, then we all need to be reducing inflammation, right? And if you're concerned about this program, please check with your doctor first. And if this program certainly does not replace any of your doctor's recommendations. So if you want to, then run it by your doctor and, get their approval. Now you may be wondering, how much time do I need? Now listen, I know you're tired. I know it's hard for you to fit everything into your day. I've been there. And I also know that this program gives you more energy. When you follow it, when you implement these tools correctly, then you get more energy. You have more aches and pains, which means you've got more energy to enjoy your life, right? But overall, there are 4 hours of video in this program. Like I said, you can split it up. Do it 15 minutes a week. 15 minutes. So you decide how long you want to take to go through it. The sooner you go through it, the more you can start to implement. Now, so often I'm asked, will I lose weight on this program? Well, it's not a weight loss program. However, if we know that inflammation causes weight gain, would it not make sense? Would it not be logical to think that if we reduce inflammation, that there may be some weight loss as a side effect? Quite possibly, but there's no guarantees, right? But to me, logically, that makes sense. Now, we also have to keep into account menopausal symptoms, medications, all of those things that can make us cause weight at this point in time. Now, another question I get asked all the time is, Karen, will I feel stressed? I hope not. It's that goes against the grain for me and how I've designed the program and my whole philosophy in reducing inflammation, right? The idea is that you take it at a pace that works for you. If you are struggling, if you are feeling stressed, you can ask questions in the comments. You also have an opportunity to purchase a one on one session with me should you need some additional support. So you're never on your own. Okay. Know that once you're in my circle, unfortunately, you're stuck with me and you're always going to get my support. You're always going to know that you're going to be heard and understood by somebody who truly understands what this journey is like. Okay, so I sincerely hope that that makes you feel less stressed because that's my goal. Perhaps you're here and you're wondering, but I haven't been diagnosed with breast cancer. Maybe you've been diagnosed with a genetic mutation, or maybe you're a healthy lifestyle seeker who wants to reduce their risk of breast cancer. Well, you know what? This philosophy works for everybody. Works for everybody. That's what's so cool about it. This is a change in your lifestyle. You benefit from this forever, not just for the length of the program. It's not like a diet, it's not a one and done. You change your life and your relationship to food, to stress, to toxins, and with yourself forever. That's a pretty big win win as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to invite you to click the button below and purchase Essentials for Thriving. Say yes to you. Say yes to embracing this new normal, whatever it looks like. But when you buy today and you've got 5 days and 5 days only, you'll notice the countdown timer on the page where the video is. That's your unique timer. When that's done, this program goes back up to $297. Save yourself the money and purchase today for just $97. I want to make this a no-brainer for you because I know how much this program will change your life. Okay. Thank you so, so much for being here. Thank you for watching. And I know that you now have a much clearer idea of what your path forward looks like, the side effects you may be experiencing, but also what you can do about it. The fact that you don't just have to suck it up and wait to feel better. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I hope to see you inside Essentials for Thriving. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye for now.